as the country struggles with a single age driver's license card machine, a delegation from the Department of Transport went to France to inspect a smart license card printer. The interesting part and the disturbing part really is that the actual machines were not in France at all, but in the Czech Republic and Greece. This delegation was shown different equipment, and yet the 900 million rand was still handed to the French company Idemia. Now, the department is headed to court, asking that the contract be declared in the outer CEO Wayne Duvenage. They've been at the forefront of supporting some of the initiatives that the department is taking to try and have that contract invalidated by a court. Wayne, good afternoon. If the machine, the specific machine that this delegation that was going to decide who gets this bid, nearly R1 billion bid, if it was in Greece and in the Czech, what on earth were they doing in France and the Netherlands?
Yeah. We have the same question. This is part of the technical inspection, or to go and actually see the technology that they're implementing. It's part of the process. And you've got to ask yourself why 7 people have to go and do this when 1 or 2 could have done it firstly. But you're quite right. I mean, this looks like a joyride. It was supposed to obviously take place before they handed the award to Idemia. So they did it quickly in August. They made the announcement on the 1st of September last year. And yeah, it's crazy that they go and view a machine that is not the same one that they're supposed to, or looking at purchasing. So it does smack of gross irregularities. But this whole tender, by the way, is just fraught with irregularities, which is why the minister has decided to cancel it, and to do so formally by having set aside through a court order.
I said what you just said. Where do we stand with those processes? We always talk about the wheels of justice grinding slow, but given that there's been work that has been done by the Auditor General, the department is actually approaching the courts to say, please invalidate this contract so that we can get on with the work of substantively appointing someone to provide us with this one much needed machine. Where do we stand in terms of those processes?
Yeah, well, I believe we're waiting for the court to give that order. And the reason for that is just to make it formal, because there's a whole PFMA process, management process that has to take place. I believe that they should have just gone straight to the award-winning tenderer, Idemia, and just agreed with them that they weren't going to challenge it. Get that in writing. If they were going to challenge it, then obviously they had a order of the court. But if they aren't going to, and I think they would be silly to try and challenge it in court, because they have been found wanting, quite frankly. This tender, by the way, the amount that they that they submitted was for 465 million, and suddenly it became 898 million rand. So it's fraught with gross efficiencies and manipulation of the tender process. Yeah. And I think the minister needs to, way she can resolve this is to have the government printing works, by the way, do the printing of driver's licenses. This is something we've been advocating some time, and it will be about 30% cheaper than what we currently pay. And
that's currently being explored, is it not? Roping in the government printing works to try and do some of this work, given the backlog that continues to escalate, even as we're still bogged down with these processes in court.
Yeah, it is something that the minister has engaged with government printing works. We believe it would still require a specific machine, but the efficiencies that come in when government printing works, who, by the way, prints all the ID cards, you start to have integration with ID numbers and driver's license details and so forth. So it makes sense to go down this route, and you have a competent entity within government that can provide these services, have the backups as well. It makes a lot of sense to introduce it, and as I said, lower cost and less money to be made, by the way, by these government departments which build these empires of money-making rackets, by the way.
Just back on this whole issue of the actual machine that was inspected by these bid committees, that's bid evaluation, and I believe it is evaluation committee. Just talk to me about what further consequences need to go into it, Wayne, because having the contract invalidated by a court with IDEMIA invalidated by a court is important as a step towards, settling the bigger issue of having, someone appointed in a proper way to give us this machine. But do you believe there's been consequence management enough of it in terms of the people that were involved? And I asked that question in part wanting you to highlight the role of these entities that are little known but actually wield a significant amount of power in some of these decisions. In this case, something called the Driving License Card Authority. The average person won't know about it, but those who are in the system will know and know the extent to which they'll be able to get away with things in entities like those, yeah?
You raise a good point, and this is the issue that we want to see more of is accountability. So you've got to ask yourself, and if you look at the irregularities that we highlighted and shared with the Auditor General, which gave rise to then the eventual cancellation, there was manipulation of the process. They started out at 25 interested entities to bid, and there were only 5 in the end. This contract, by the way, this tender was cancelled 3 times. 2 times before it was issued, 3 times. It had massive delays. And all of the hallmarks of what we call gross manipulation, and this is the stuff that leads to corruption. Now, what we do need to see is accountability. We need to understand and ask why the Director General of the department allowed this to happen, why the people inside the Bid Evaluation Committee allowed the manipulation to happen. And quite frankly, we believe that people need to be held accountable, and we haven't seen that yet. And it's very, very important that the Minister and the various oversight authorities do start to hold the various people to account. They need to do a proper investigation, get to the bottom of it. And not only that, IDEMIA, who was found wanting, by the way, and another contract cancelled with the airports company. This is the 2nd time now. So we believe they should be added to the restricted supply database at Treasury, so accountable as well. But there hasn't been any indication. Maybe we haven't heard about it, and we need to hear about it. We need to see accountability for this gross oversight and mismanagement.
Yeah, and just lastly, another interesting bit of that story, Wayne. So this is all in terms of the court filings, right, by the Department of Transport and the affidavits supporting their application. They were told that one or 2 countries where they could observe this machine in practice and operation were Morocco and Burkina Faso. As far as we
know, they didn't go there, did they?
No, not that we know of. I think they enjoyed the wine and the cheese and the meals in France and Netherlands. It was a waste of time. Whoever paid for it, you certainly didn't need 7 people there. It was a joyride, quite frankly.
All right, Wayne, let's leave it there and see how it all unfolds in terms of holding people accountable for some of those decisions. That's Outer's Wayne Duvenage. I do need to give a bit of credit to the reporting of News 24 on that particular story, doing extensive work on it.